We are here.
This is this week. It's another Eleanor Kerrigan fan favorite pick.
Okay, I know.
It's another one of your lovers. Where does this man?
By the way, is my spectrum like insane to you, or?
I think you're on the spectrum of men. You're saying.
My mom says, and I think I've said this a million times on here, but my mom says when it comes to men, my taste is all in my mouth.
When you say that, it seems very perverse to me.
It's uncomfortable,
but I don't think it's meant to be perverse.
No,
I think it means like your taste buds.
Yeah,
but then again, it goes back to being perverse.
But she means like, sure, you might be able to taste good food, but you have terrible taste.
But your taste in food is weird as well.
You're not wrong. You're not
So that
wrong.
may be what she's getting at.
You're like, she eats Swedish fish and Pop-Tarts, and I don't see anything wrong with who she picks to like.
You won't eat rice.
Ugh.
Ever.
Never in my life. Because my brother Billy said it's maggots. It turns to maggots in your stomach. Enjoy your rice, people.
I like rice.
Tally's very smart.
He doesn't eat rice either?
He probably does.
But he just messes God in your head.
Same thing with hot dogs.
So we're talking. What do you mean with hot dogs?
we
What do you say? They're all.
This is awful.
All the extra parts.
No. So it was me and my little brother Bobby and Billy up late night. Like what we would do. My poor mother worked 2 jobs, single mom. She hates when I say that. She's like, I wasn't single the whole time. Like, yeah, no shit, lady. But he left you with 10 kids. So she's working 2 jobs. She goes to sleep. She goes to sleep. So we would just go a little nutty in the house. And we were up. And then my brother Billy was like, can you make us hot dogs? Because I'm the girl. They're like, I assume you know how to do it. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And then I was like, oh, yeah.
How old are you at this point?
7 or 8.
Okay.
8. My dad just let my.
How old are they? Are they older than you?
Billy's older. Bobby's younger.
It's not like hot dogs are super hard to make.
Right. So I'm like, I remember to boil the water, whatever. Put them in there for not that long.
Could have lit a fire in the living room, put them right over.
We would have done that. We've done worse. So that wouldn't have been too far off. So we're just like, our goal, we can't be loud because if we wake up my mom, we're in big trouble. There's other people in the house. If we wake them up, they're rats. You know who you are. And so we were just being quiet, whatever. So we were downstairs goofing around and we only had 2 hot dogs. So we drew straws, like whoever.
When did you draw hot dogs?
We could have, but we didn't want to cut it short. And so I won and Bobby won. So Billy wasn't getting a hot dog. And we didn't have any other food in the house. Nothing. 0. So it was like, we were like, too bad you lost, too bad you lost. Like we weren't even thinking of sharing. We were like, you lost, you're an asshole. And Billy was like,
you easily could have divided them up into thirds.
A little bit,
yeah.
But we're not smart. Yeah. Bobby's 2 years younger than me and Billy's 1 year older.
You could have laid in the tram pit with your brothers, put it in your mouth and just gone down right till
How'd you pick my mom's favorite cartoon? That's gross.
Until you make it out.
It's okay, inappropriate. But so I'm about to like eat it. This is probably, I don't know, the 3rd hot dog I had in my life, but the last. And I was about to bite it. Billy goes, ooh, be careful you don't bite a vein. I go, what? He goes, yeah, that's the pig's dick. That's what a hot dog is.
And let me guess, he ate it when you wouldn't.
Like it was nothing.
You're letting him get in your head.
Everybody gets in my head. They live in there rent free. They run around.
I knew where this was
There's
going.
a lot of squatters in my head. Billy's at the top of that list.
He really. You
never had a hot dog since. Haven't had one. And I remember when my nephew Sean was born, and my sister, I was watching him, and she's like, "Make sure you cut the skin off the hot dog." And I'm like, "Was that like a brisket? Like I don't understand."
You got to circumcise it, peel it back.
It's gross.
They say eating a hot dog takes 30 minutes off your life. So you should thank your brother for all the 30 minutes you've gained.
I should do a hot dog contest to try to get that back.
You could kill yourself.
Kill myself, yeah, immediately.
That's what I do when I watch those contests. I'm like, I calculate how many hours they've taken off their lives.
You really believe that, though? That's not real.
Well, I think it also equates with your other diet and what else you're doing.
But it doesn't matter. I know people that chain smoke and just...
My grandfather led a very unhealthy lifestyle up till 86.
86.
He was physically active until pretty late.
People in their late 90s. There was a guy on my mom's neighborhood. He was on oxygen, smoking, and he was 91, I think.
They called them fire
He would
hazards.
just sit outside with the oxygen tank, cursing and
He's
smoking.
like, let me turn it up a
Tremendous.
little higher. I got some smoke coming.
Yeah. I don't know if he died. I don't know where he is. Probably still running around.
He's probably having sex out there. So you wanted to watch another one of your crushes.
Albert Brooks.
We'll have to see where he fits in the pantheon of the Eleanor Kerrigan dreamboat.
Well, he's up there. And
Higher than Stallone?
No. Stallone is like
By himself.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Albert's like my little nerdy crush.
Okay.
Like he could help me.
Like you wouldn't be with Albert forever, but you would.
No, I would.
You would.
Because he's somebody you could
But
be with
even if Stallone
forever.
came along and said.
But Stallone you can't nail down to me. Like he's not the guy you're going to be with forever.
What if he said he was? He's like, I'm in.
I'm no Flavin, but I would do it.
But then Albert Brooks, he had a beautiful Jufro in some of the vintage
Unbelievable.
clips.
Well, how cute was he when he was younger?
Really?
Oh my God, in high school I would have been chasing him around.
He looked a lot like, he looked and reminded me a lot of Robin Williams.
Really?
He was like Robin Williams meets Steve Guttenberg, his appearance.
You've never
like
seen that? I'm never picking that. So this is a high school where his neck is unbelievable.
As
It's
he got
amazing.
older, he started turning into Robert Wool, old Arliss.
I would give you that. I would give you a little more Wool versus Williams.
Yeah, like right there.
Yeah.
I think they look a lot alike. They're both very squinty.
Versus
in older
Robin
age.
Williams, like right there too.
I don't know that he was hairy. I don't know, and just the mannerisms, like when he would perform, he was like
Yeah.
all over the place, like Robin Williams.
But I will be honest, it was Taxi Driver where I was like, I like him.
I didn't even remember him in Taxi Driver.
Oh, he was the best.
No, I remember when I
mean,
saw the clip, I was like,
you're
oh,
like,
he's in. I didn't, but I never in my mind was like, oh, remember Albert Brooks in Taxi
Especially
Driver.
that scene they used, which is one of my favorites. Let me put my glasses on. And then he doesn't, they were already on. Like it just caught me.
And
I was
De
just
Niro
like,
was all crazy.
oh, and
all
of
manic.
course, De Niro was great, but, and I never
Look
liked,
at that hair.
I never liked Sybil Shepherd.
Is that a perm or is that his natural hair?
No, it's not a perm.
But as he got older, it like decurled. How does that happen? Just age?
No, it just thinned out. Hold on, I dropped my pen. It's very important.
What do you need your pen
Very
for?
important to
What are
have
you, a
my
news,
pen.
What are you, a news anchor? You have
I'm
to hold-
broadcast newsing this. Well, okay, so all right, so you've seen Taxi Driver.
I have.
So are you an
But
Albert Brooks
You're gonna
fan?
get mad because before seeing this, I was like, I've never seen any of this stuff. None of the movies. None. I didn't even know he did like late night performances. I had never seen one of them
Well,
in my life.
I will be honest. I only saw those later. I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he did stand up.
I didn't either. I had no clue. I knew he was like a comedic figure, kind of almost like a Gary Shandling that a lot of people looked up to and was like an innovator. But
to me,
I
he
didn't
was
know
a
a lot
filmmaker
about
and an
him.
actor. Yeah.
But I had never. The only movie I have any experience with, and I saw clips, was Defending My Life. And I would see
You've
clips.
never
as a kid.
seen Defending Your Life?
No, I've seen none of his movies. Not
Did you
one.
notice that one
Even
of
the movies they said, I'm like, I've never heard of this movie, any of them. I don't know where I was. What was I doing?
I don't know, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I was doing
It's
other stuff. I
uncomfortable.
was watching wrestling as a child.
Ugh. I mean, I get that, but you could watch
I mean,
movies too.
that was high entertainment, high writing quality.
Well, the one thing that bothered me about this, I was working at the Comedy Store when they filmed that scene,
Which scene?
but they were so quiet about it. I think you could bring it up. It's him and Meryl Streep, and they're watching Roger Bear, who was a comic at the store, and they say, he goes, "How did you die?" When he's in the afterlife, how did you die?
Oh, he said
And
up
goes,
on stage like you. Okay,
yeah, that was at the Comedy Store in the main room. And that was
I saw you walk through and say, "Would you guys like something to drink?"
he wasn't, but see the background you can't tell because they did it like that. They changed it, but they were so secretive that we just want to film this one scene. We didn't know what the hell it was.
Did you
so
see him?
I knew they were filming, but I was like, I'm not going in during the day. I was young.
Did you see that?
I didn't know it was going to be Meryl Streep and my boyfriend.
You didn't get to see that tight ass up close.
No, I've seen Roger Bear a million times. R.I.P. Roger.
Bear, B-E-A-R or B-E-H-R?
Great question.
Native
it might be
American
the
style?
HR. It might be the HR.
He needs to go to HR.
He used to do this thing, Roger Bear, when he came out. Like, and granted, I'm waiting tables in the 90s. I'm in my 20s, right? So I'm like, is it? Oh, yeah, B-E-H-R.
Okay.
So I remember he'd come out and he'd do that, get out of my car, or get out of my dreams, get into my car, or something like that. And he'd go, no, seriously, lady, in my car, get in my car. And we'd just be like, God damn it, I'm going to kill myself.
Boy.
I mean, corny beyond corny.
So I'm gonna look up some of his stuff based on that.
God, R.I.P. Rob. I'm not. He was a very nice man.
So his role in this, where he's saying you're dying, is not
Perfect.
far off.
This was perfect casting. Perfect. I think he was doing that bit, some kind of singing something in there, and I was like, oh my God, they put the worst comic we have. The audience would either love him or hate him, right? There was no in between on this guy. So my friend Gabrielle, she'd be waiting tables, and he would flirt with us, like as a skit, part of his act.
You say, "Get into my car."
And well, no, we weren't that person. It was something else. It was another song that he would sing to us. And
it's like, when I think about you, I touch myself. Hey,
it's something stupid. And Gabrielle would go, "Yeah, that's my husband," and the audience would love her and over tip her
because they felt bad for her. Probably.
That's your husband? Oh my God, so cool. Or we would. He was on Don Kirshner's rock concert. Mm-hmm. That was Dice's first big appearance.
Donnie K.
Yeah, did you know that show?
I don't know who. No,
me either. I only know it because of Andrew. Don Kirshner's rock concert.
For this, they open up with some heavy hitter talking heads: Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Wanda Sykes. So they used like not at all. Really, it was weird. Like she was there.
She was there, and then
not really.
I wonder why. I was mad they didn't call me.
For you to talk?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about him.
Larry David.
Larry David, great. Similar minds.
Yes.
Similarly bizarro. But he's just the whole, everything's just a burden, right? Like you look at him and you just think he's just carrying the weight of the world.
He's a lot
but I don't know why.
A lot of neuroses, which he, like his movies dealt with, he talks about in this. This whole thing is him sitting down with his high school friend Rob Reiner.
How crazy is that?
Which was weird. Class. Why do you think they did? Do you think Albert Brooks was like shy to talk about himself? So like Rob Reiner's like, I can bring it out of you, or
well, I'll say that Rob Reiner's done a million great things, right?
Yeah.
And I would much rather, and I love Rob. I'm a huge fan, but
yeah, I don't have anything against him, but I just don't know if he was needed here.
Agreed. I would much rather see a documentary about Albert Brooks versus Reiner.
A lot of it was like redundant because he'd be like, you were doing this bit, and then they would show the bit. Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, why do I need him talking about the bit if you can just show me the bit?
Right.
Like it was, but I was like, I don't know if it was just because they're friends. Like, let's do it together. I didn't really understand.
And we know a person that said we wanted him to just shut up. We know that person.
What restaurant were they? They were in some classy restaurant.
I don't know, but
like cheesecake or something.
I got like distracted because I kept seeing the waiter, and I was like, "That's either the same shot or it's driving me nuts."
Guy works a 20-hour shift.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, then you don't need him. Just close the fucking restaurant and talk because he's distracting me. And then he'd bring it up. Rob Reiner would bring stuff up. Meathead, if you will, would bring stuff up. And just talk too much about. I'm like, shut the.
It was kind of
up, man. I want to hear him.
It was almost like a podcast.
I was with Rob
at times. With
not
the
that
clips.
Rob. That Rob when he said that. It was a podcast. Yeah, you're right.
Like it was a lot of talk, and then they would just break it up with clips.
But how can you imagine? You're in high school. You're with Meathead. Look at him.
But
that's my favorite role.
They had
ever.
Dick Dreyfuss in their high school. Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, insane. Yeah.
But then they had a lot of. It was here, right? Obviously, because they had a lot of famous people's kids as well. That they named. I think one was a singer who I forget the name of offhand. But he went up. He said.
They said the name.
Albert Brooks went up to Rob Reiner, who he had met in class, and he said, "I know Carl Reiner," and he said, "Yeah, he's my dad." He didn't know he was trying to name drop on him.
But they never really clarified why.
But he said, I didn't know your last name. He said, I didn't hear your last name.
Was he joking that he knew
No, he
him?
said he was trying to like.
Really know him?
No, he did. Because remember when he was 16, he did know. But how would you not know the son? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't explain it fully.
This is what I mean. They went to Beverly Hills High.
Okay.
90210,
the early class.
There you go. So, but this is my thing because they said that, and then they said they became friends, and then he met the dad because then he would go to the house and make the dad laugh.
Maybe he was bullshitting that he knew him. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. He was trying to be like. He knew his kid was in the class, so he would come to the schools or something. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. So they didn't fully.
Maybe he hooked up with his Carl Reiner.
But imagine this: like you're 16, you're in high school, and there's 4 channels on TV.
Yeah.
And one of them is Johnny Carson, which is the biggest. And Carl Reiner, the other half of the 2,000-year-old man, says the funniest person he knows is Albert Einstein,
who's 16.
A 16-year-old kid from Beverly Hills. How fucking
By the way,
crazy is that
must have hurt Rob Reiner. Because
yes!
you're like, that's my dad.
Yes!
Like, that's what I want to like.
Like, Dad, I'm right here.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
I'm crushing.
It's not like he's not into comedy. It's like, hey, man, what the fuck? Like, that must have been a mind fuck of sorts. The Tonight Show of all shit, you're like, what?
Unbelievable. And that's, everybody watches that. Everybody watches.
Back
so
then,
like,
too,
who
you
the fuck
could
is
get
Albert Einstein? Is he making that up? Is he because Albert Brooks' real name is Albert Einstein?
That's
which
like
is also
only,
a very funny story.
That and the fact that his brother is Super Dave, or was Super Dave.
Or
like the
R.I.P. Super Dave.
Are the only two
very
things I
funny.
knew about him as like a person.
How odd is it?
And
Nemo. That they all speak the same.
It's weird because he sounds so much like Super Dave. I'm like, I didn't realize.
They all do.
But as a young guy, he didn't. And now he does. Like, as a young guy, he wasn't raspy.
Super Dave?
Albert.
Oh.
But in this,
so
he was.
It grew into it.
And then he did an impression of Super Dave, and it was like dead
on.
It was dead
but when
on.
his other brother was talking about Mother.
Well, one was a half-brother.
You've never seen Mother?
No. Only these clips. Mother! I've heard that song by Danzig. Did he write that? Albert Brooks. Albert Brooks was in Danzig.
Oh man.
They said it was about him and his mom.
My heart.
I told you were going to be mad at me.
By the way, I made my mom watch Mother, and she goes, "This is a lot." And I was like,
"That isn't it supposed to be?"
He's being hard on her. I was like, is he?
Two talking heads I had a problem with. I was like, why Jonah Hill?
I'm with you.
I was like, what's this about? He's
Not
like
getting
way
it.
different age.
Don't get it. Nothing
like,
really. Didn't add much.
And Rob Reiner was doing all the interviews.
Uncomfortable about his outfit and his hair.
His tattoos. And he's
boring.
Like, when I found out you went to high school together, it was like superhero origins type shit. I was like, okay, relax.
Okay, buddy.
And then Brian Williams, the newscaster, who was bombing, doing bits.
Bombing.
I was like, why is this guy in here?
Like the bombing he was nowhere near.
I know. I was like, why did they bring him in?
So
it was just because Albert Brooks was in a movie about newscasters. I was like, why him?
I was wondering, like, were they friends?
He's like, I wanted to be friends with him. And I was like, okay.
It's weird.
But he was tanking. He kept doing jokes that were awful.
I mean, he looks great, by the way.
I guess.
Tanned.
I wasn't looking at that.
He was nice and tanned. I was like, look at him. Okay, he's holding it together. But I didn't understand it at all.
Wasn't his daughter who got her ass eaten on the show Girls?
Yes.
Or was it another one?
And I love her. I thought she's terrific. I know she did get her ass eaten. Yes.
Imagine, I'm thinking of myself,
Beautiful.
of my daughter being like, I got an acting role. And then I watch it. I'm like, whoa.
But don't worry about Allison. Worry about Johnny Depp's daughter that was in that was the worst one.
Yeah.
She was great. She was like a little bit of a needy, but in Girls, she was great.
The good thing is Brian Williams could be like, he could say, my daughter did this show where she got her ass eaten. People think this is a lie that he's making it up.
Yeah, crazy. I didn't get him. And who was the other talking head you didn't like?
Brian Williams and Jonah Hill.
Oh, right.
The only two
right.
that I was like, I don't get it. I don't get the choices. Jonah Hill's at the end was like, we went on a walk. And I was like, okay, they went on a walk? Like, what?
Also, like, again, with the rando comics, like, were they just besties? Are they looking just for...
Some of them were fans, I thought.
Like, some of them I was like, did they just show them that clip? And they were like...
Well, like Tiffany Haddish. You're like, oh, you're big Albert Brooks fan? I don't know.
She might be. I mean, could be, but it just
it seemed odd. And it seemed very 2023 of like, let's get some people of color.
Anthony Jeselnik. Like, and I'm not saying Anthony, look at him. It looks ridiculous. I'm not saying he couldn't be a fan. He could be very well a fan, but... I'm a fan.
I think they wanted to show different ages, like people of all ages like this guy. But to me, it just didn't work. It stuck out.
Yeah, like even like the Jon Stewart, Sarah Silverman.
Those made more sense to me.
A little bit.
Chris Rock made like he said he was obsessed with him.
Yeah.
I love him. Some of them I was just like, what? I like that he asked him about his name being Albert Einstein, and he's like, it was always such a discussion my whole life. So when I got into showbiz, I wanted to stop the discussion.
Yeah.
And he's like, and my mom, like it was her idea Because he said you're the last of, was he 3 or 4 boys?
I thought it was.
He's like, and you're the last.
Yeah.
And he's like,
she had 3 other chances.
Why
right?
not? And he's like, I don't know. They just gave it to me.
But that's the brother I'm talking about. It was like, that was my mom's fault. It was the same. I was like, oh, Albert's saying that, but it's not. It was his brother, like Cliff or something.
Yeah, they all have the same voice.
And he goes, that was my mom. She don't want to waste anything, which is great because Mother is so good. Like, I hate that you didn't watch it. I want to stab you repeatedly.
I didn't even know it existed. It wasn't like I boycotted. I just didn't even know it was around.
There's a scene where, he goes up north to see her, to like live with her and try to like rekindle because he's having a writer's block, right? So she's just anti all of it. She doesn't want him to go back like that. And they're in the grocery store and she's trying to like appease him and do this whole thing. And he wants to buy this peanut butter that's like really expensive. And he goes, splurge a little. And she goes, oh no, it's the same thing. And she gets like whatever the cheap generic brand is. And he's like, what's the big deal? And they're arguing over it. And her neighbors come up and she's like, oh, now they know. Like she's just everything's so worried about what everybody else thinks.
And so that's
and he's
probably
like,
why.
it was the jam. It wasn't the peanut butter. It was
probably
the jam.
why he's the way he is.
So good.
When his dad died,
it's exact.
His dad died when he was super young too.
By the way, that was a crazy
story.
This is
before we get to that though. He did a bit. That's what impressed Carl Reiner so much. He's 16 and he said he told him he was the world's best escape artist. And he had someone put like a restaurant napkin over his hands and he's like, don't tie it. And then he put tissues like all in his mouth. And then he went behind a curtain and he was like,
I would have been like, I'm in love with him.
And he was going like, oh, help, like, oh my God, help me.
And it's corny, but it's silly, right? Am I crazy? Or
yeah, he's like, call the cops. And Carl Reiner said it was one of the hardest he'd ever laughed ever in his life.
Yeah, he did the 2,000-year-old man with Mel Brooks. What?
And he's like,
and that's
Rob
where
Reiner must have just been sitting there like, oh man, this sucks.
Again, Rob's like, he's in the corner cutting.
He's just crying. He's eating. That's why he was gaining that weight. He's like, oh, this is so sad.
He's eating.
And then they lived together, Albert and Rob Reiner, in like an up and a down.
So funny that.
And he would call him as soon as he heard him done fucking. Albert would call Rob and say, you done?
Can we eat? Want to go eat?
Want to go eat? And he said within 30 seconds, he would say yes.
He goes, it was time. He would go, okay, let's eat.
He called right when he's done fucking.
Embarrassing. Penny Marshall was great when they were telling that story. Oh, that was so funny.
Chris Rock said he's so good you can't steal it. Like because the things
that's a little a weird statement. I thought,
but the things he would do were so like unique though that it would be hard.
Agreed,
to steal.
I understand.
But he wasn't
why
even
would you even think about
stand up really though. He was like a one man show. So I don't know what it was.
Yeah, because nothing probably was repeated.
It was like performance art.
Yeah,
and it was all meant for late night TV. He didn't do it in clubs.
He put an album out and then didn't tour.
He was doing like he was like a circus, like a animal trainer.
Oh, that was great.
It's not straight stand up though.
It's so silly. The animal trainer, and then when he did like when he was like, my elephant couldn't make it.
So he has a frog. It was just very bizarre. A lot of his stuff was bizarre. Jon Stewart said he's the first alternative comic, which makes sense.
That was a great analogy. Yeah, because you're like, it's so niche or whatever you want to.
Well, the opening bit they showed where he talked for like 3 minutes with no jokes, and then it went into like craziness. Like it was like this serious setup, and then it would just go crazy.
But it was kind of corny, but it still was good.
It was that era though. Like now it would be very
that
corny.
Era right now it would be no, but even I think he'd make it work now.
I think he would adjust it, but it was very that era. It was like he took his pants off, he was spraying whipped cream on himself. It was very like
this is me, and he's holding his headshot up.
Yeah,
great, so great. I love the seltzer. Like why? That was such an old gag, such a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, like, he was making fun of shitty comedy.
He was shitting on the corniness,
which was funny. I had no idea who Steven Spielberg was in his talking head until it said Steven Spielberg.
Really?
He looks different. I haven't seen him in forever. He has like a goatee
I guess
now.
My mom watches everything.
He was in like a Hawaiian shirt. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
I thought he looked great.
I had no idea who he was. I was like, oops, sorry.
Imagine that. Now, I might be jumping ahead, but imagine like, and I forget when they said it, but like Steven Spielberg was filming Albert Brooks.
On like
filming him, following him around, filming him because he just thought he's the funniest guy.
Yeah, he was just doing like he was interviewing people at traffic lights.
Yeah,
like,
on Sunset. Like,
yeah, like
do you regret buying an American car? He's like, this is rented.
It was almost
like
you, buddy. TikTok origins of like doing these clips.
Way ahead of his time. Also, that Duncan Trussell would be very upset with the ventriloquism. So good. So good. Jaws of Life. Oh, I got it. Why do you really think he looks that much different? I mean,
I just haven't seen him in forever, and he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a long sleeve shirt underneath it. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know. I didn't put it together.
I love that. Look at that hair. It's so good. Bob Ross would be like, man, that's what I was looking for.
That looks like it shed a lot.
Yeah.
All over the apartment. Rob Reiner must have been so jealous of that as well. He must hate this guy. Between the hair and his father's love for him.
That's why he talked so much during the whole
yeah, he's like, I'll get the better of you in this special, or this doc.
Oh, boy.
He got on Carson like late, like compared to most people. And so he had done like millions of variety shows.
Which is so odd. They did have a lot of those fucking variety shows.
Yeah, he named like 30. Like a lot of them. I was like, what
I never heard of that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had to look a lot of them up.
He's like, I was on this.
And my mom watched a lot late night. Like she would wait for, not Letterman, it was somebody way before him, another David. But she would wait for his monologue and then she would go to bed.
It's crazy that Albert would go on TV with bits he had never done before in public.
And I love that Johnny Carson was like, if you don't have to rehearse, don't, because I want it to be a surprise to me too.
He was great because he would die laughing and it was so genuine. Like he would fucking like if he liked you, he would like die for like 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
He was a great audience.
He definitely, if he was into you, you could tell. You could.
Like he was slaying Carson. He was slaying in the interview. Like he was just saying stuff and he was dying. He would put his head back.
But he would always say like the craziest shit. Like, I mean,
he brought out a fake joint, which obviously wasn't real.
The fake joint is amazing, but also the whole tonight, I promised a kid that I would get a certain amount of laughs. It's like the baseball thing. I would hit a home run, Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
And if it no laughs, he's dead. Like what? And Johnny was dying when he was saying that. So good.
The kid was dying.
He's so dry. I love that.
I liked his bit of eating food that leads to impressions, and he brought out this whole he was like more or less a prop comic, but it was also stupid. It wasn't like serious. He was doing Three Stooges.
Exactly. Yeah. It was more Three Stooges in a one-man setting.
It's very silly, his comedy.
I know. That's why I like him. He's a goof. He's a goof and a nerd.
I had no idea.
Wrapped up into one.
The father, Harry Einstein, which is a great name as well.
Another terrific name. Yeah.
I was a comedian. I had no idea.
Me either.
A radio
I didn't
show.
know. I do remember reading that his father was famous, but I didn't remember what it was. And then I was like, oh, he was a comic? That's crazy.
Said Harry Einstein hated Rob Reiner. He's like, you're so unfunny. That'd be funny. You have no future. Harry Fryer
never spoke of Rob Reiner.
Harry Einstein had a famous death.
Yes.
They covered it in this. He was at the Friars Club. He had a spinal disease, so like he was sick Albert's whole life because he was the youngest. So he's like, I always knew he was going to die young. It was Lucille and Desi were going to the Friars Club
for the first time,
big
which
deal.
Is a giant
first
deal.
Woman too.
Yeah.
And so Harry was going to do 10 minutes. He was in a wheelchair. I don't know how old he was, but Albert helped him write it and go over it.
Or I don't know. Did he say he helped him write it, or he helped him like he was excited that he was part of it?
Okay,
he was
so maybe
helping with
he said he was working like a tape recorder, like listening to it. So they said he killed like a standing ovation.
Crushed.
Went back to the dais, put his head down, and died.
Yeah,
just out.
Like every comic should. Crush and then just
killed,
go home and die.
And then die.
Not even home. You don't have to go home. But how funny was it? And I hate, this is the comic's mind. This is where you know he's a comedic genius.
Yeah.
That he could barely get out. He was laughing so hard trying to tell the story of them trying to one, salvage the dinner. God, that's so Jewish. But like, we gotta
eat around.
We gotta eat.
It's what he would have wanted. Drag him off and let him eat the meal.
That's brisket. Good brisket.
Yeah, keep it going.
Where are we going? So it just made me laugh. That, and then they put I forgot his name, the singer,
Tony Martin.
Yeah, I wrote it.
They're like, we got to salvage the show, and he go sing a song.
The name of the song was There Will Be No Tomorrow.
Yeah. Everyone was like,
so good.
A little soon. That was the origin of the too soon.
But yeah, right. That's where it originated.
Was it real? Because he said they cut him open with like a pocket knife and tried to put like a lamp in him.
Tried to like fucking
jump his
revive
heart.
him. Yeah.
But if he had a spinal disease, why fight so hard? You know, it's like he's done.
Also, him saying, we're at the Beverly Hills Hilton, and we're like, is there a doctor in the house? Everybody came on stage. Wait, what does that say? He has a little bit of Super Dave delivery. Yeah, but they're the same person, kind of. I mean,
Super Dave's his like. I would watch those specials as a kid when he would do those stupid stunts.
Super Dave?
Yeah. Which was very much like Albert Brooks. It's like nonsensical, silly, performative.
His voice was really raspy.
I think he may though have had something wrong with him later in life. Because like later on Curb, it got real
bad.
Croaky.
Almost like Kennedy, where you can barely understand him sometimes.
He was great. I loved him on Curb.
Oh, tremendous.
Did you ever see the bit where he does this bit? It's a joke that he's telling Jerry that Jerry clearly didn't know he was going to do because it's improv. And I forget what it was about. It was about like herring.
About the joke?
About the woman, yeah.
Oh,
and he dropped a C-bomb and Seinfeld just goes like blank. And Larry David just starts dying, like a genuine.
It's one of my favorite clips.
The liver in the sink.
Yeah. And he's like, you just threw away my wife's cunt. And Jerry's just like, what? And Larry's like cackling because I think he had heard it before and he knew Jerry wouldn't like it. And he just looked at him like, okay.
Let's hear it.
Jerry Marty Funkhouse.
Hey Marty, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Want to hear a joke?
Funk man.
Oh, no,
he doesn't want to hear a joke. We have a read through.
Yeah, we got.
Let me just get right through it.
Okay.
A woman's very afraid of the size of her opening.
What is she afraid of?
The size of her opening. So she goes to her mother. She says, "What am I going to do? I'm so big down there. When I marry Harry, he's going to divorce me." Her mother says, "Don't worry, sweetheart. It runs in the family. Do what I did when I married your father. Go to the market, get some raw liver, put it in there. He'll never know the difference."
Oh, my God.
So she does. They have 8 hours of sex after their marriage. She wakes up at 10 o'clock. He's gone, but there's a note on her pillow. It says, "My darling Harriet, to think that I waited a year to consummate our love relationship makes my heart beat so loud I'm surprised it didn't wake you up. The only reason I'm not here now, darling, is I'm at work to make enough money to buy you a house, a picket fence, we'll have dogs and children."
This is not so bad.
Oh, yeah, this is great. Will you finish the fucking joke already?
When the 5 o'clock dinner bell rings, I will be home like the winged gossamer of your love in your arms, your loving husband, Harry.
That's nice.
P.S. Your cunt is in the sink.
Okay, you told your joke. Let's go.
Oh, Jerry, I got it backwards. Jerry.
Yeah, Larry was annoyed with him. Just annoyed with him.
Such a stupid long
Such
joke.
a long. I love when people do those long, dumb jokes like that. I know it's annoying, but it makes me laugh.
P.S. Your cunt is in the sink is one of the best punchlines.
So great.
Especially after all that boring setup.
Yeah. I want to
gossamer.
Like your wing. So many adjectives. You're like, what, dude, chill.
Dressing, and then Larry's like, we get that fucking. They said Albert was always wanted his mom to acknowledge that he was killing on Carson.
Aww.
He's like, I'd have to call her. She wouldn't call me when I'm done. She's like, are you do it yet? He's like, no, I'm on the show right now, Mom. And then
just sin.
He'd say, what do you think? And she's like, what did Johnny think? That's all she would ever say to him. And all he wanted her to say was like, it was great.
So good.
But he said she was a singer and cut her career short for kids. And so he thinks she had like a problem with him.
Well, that's what Mother is about too. Like,
yeah,
the movie.
She was a writer. Which I had never seen. But you have to get over it, Eleanor. You have to get through this.
I'm not doing it. I mean, can we just admit this? That Jews are the funniest. Is that annoying?
They say Ashkenazi Jews.
Is that racist?
Don't tell
or anti-Semitic.
RFK second mention. Ashkenazi Jews. They like studied it. Have a gene that does make them funnier.
Mother dancing.
Mother with Albert Brooks.
There's Albert.
Someone should redo this song with Albert Brooks.
Albert, this is
Debbie
what you
Reynolds.
can do for your 6. Oh, Debbie's gone, but Albert can do it.
They could just put the images though to Mother by Danzig. Pretty sweet. He finally impressed her because he brought her as his date to the Oscars when he was nominated.
How cute.
When people do that, do you have to hook up a little bit after just to make it a real date?
What do you mean?
Like with your mom when you bring them to the Oscar?
You bring your mom to look how cute Debbie Reynolds.
Well, they always say it was my date. So like, do you have to like?
One of my favorite.
You're not going to answer.
Hilarious. No, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to justify that.
Oh, Debbie.
Did you ever see? How about this one? Postcards from the Edge.
Fuck no.
What?
I've never even heard of it.
Now that is the Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds story. That is Carrie Fisher's relationship with her mother.
Have you ever seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Of course. That's what I'm saying.
I'm well-rounded. That's what I was busy watching.
Look at her. So good. Postcards from the Edge. Excellent movie.
Never heard of it.
But that movie. Right? It's so good. That's Carrie Fisher's mother, if you will. Like, Albert Brooks wrote Mother about his mom. That was her story about her. Oh, it was so good.
Mother.
Meryl Streep was excellent in that. Excellent.
One of the funniest stories I thought in this was their mother was dying. She lived to like 94, and all the brothers are at the
so good
at the house.
This is so Jewish, by the way. Right now we're about to get. We might have mutts on the table. That's how Jewish we're about to get.
His delivery of this was great, and I think Rob Reiner knew the story, so he was like setting him up. He's like, "Was Bob there?" And he's like, "Everyone was in and out." He's like, "So I went in. I said, Mom," like, and she had stopped like really communicating. He's like,
right.
"Hi, Mom. Like, you look great." And she looked up and she said, "You lost weight." And Super Dave didn't miss a beat and goes, "I told you she thought you were fat." Right at the mother's deathbed. What a line. What a great line. What great timing.
But that's such a thing. You look thin. I mean, you could be like emaciated and they'll be like, "You look great."
I had an second aunt who would say in front of you, be like, "Oh, he looks fat." Like, you're right. You're like, "I'm here." Like, but say it to other people. Then she'd be like, "Here, have some more food." You're like, "No, I'm good. Thanks. I'll stop."
Oh God.
But that was I thought that was a great line.
Yeah.
So Albert, he started doing stand up because one of his albums was tanking. He went like reverse order. He wanted to like get it up. So he was in Boston.
Well, if he would have toured with it, it would have stayed up.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
But he didn't promote
I didn't tour, and that's why I missed the ball. He left all that money on the table, if you will.
So he went to Boston, and then he went back to his room, and he called his brother and said elephants were moving on the wallpaper. And his brother's like, "I think it might be time to come home, get off the road." And he thinks that he blocked everything out and like wouldn't let anyone close to him because he knew his dad was going to die, and it all came at him at once, like right then. That. Like years of grief and
sure. And you're going out to tour now. You're going out to live basically the same life. Is that going to happen to you? Are you going to have a killer show and then die on stage? Like, I don't know. It's scary.
Have you ever seen the wallpaper move on the road? You do the road a lot.
I've counted stripes a lot. I've counted all kinds of stuff.
How's that? Is that fun?
Not good. Not good. Certain places you just stare at the ceiling because you're like, "Oh, this place is disgusting."
Vegas? Ever been there?
No, that one was pretty bad now, but it wasn't before. But now, or a couple weeks ago, we were in Ohio and there was no like real hotel, like. No offense, but we were in like Toledo and Akron, and then Toledo was okay. Akron didn't have like 4-star places; they were all like inns, if you will. At the end of
James didn't make a nice hotel in his
Dude,
hometown.
no, fucking fix that, LeBron. Seriously. And we were playing at this Goodyear Theater, and we. Just like we stayed at the highest rated one we can find, and both Andrew and I slept with like eyes open. In 2 different, he kept calling me going, "There's really orange curtains in here, aren't there?" And I was like, "Yes, they are, and they have a hint of brown in them too." So that brings up a nice.
It's very nice.
The color in the rug.
Nice ambiance.
And we'd be crying, laughing, trying to get through the night on the phone because it was so brutal. Just in that, I filmed him in there and he was going to post it. And then he goes, I can't.
It's too
embarrassing. It was that bad. But it was one night we had to stay there.
Did you know this trivia about your boyfriend, Al Brooks, that Lauren wanted him to be like the permanent host of SNL?
Yes.
And he said, "No, I think you should have revolving hosts." And then he's like, "But I will make short films." for the show, which like started the two big things about the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I read that in Bernie Burlstein's book or Lauren Michaels' book, but it was somebody that they brought up the Albert Brooks wanting to do it with Albert Brooks.
He should get a cut of that money. SNL should give him like a couple percentages.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's two major facets that the revolving host. I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, that's like the main part of the show.
The main part of the thing. And
Travis Kelce, best host ever. Hilarious.
Oh, boy. He's just filled with hate.
I didn't realize he got married like so later. I don't know. They didn't say how old he was, but
sure. He was Linda Ronstadt. I didn't know he dated Linda Ronstadt.
A lot of the Nikki Glaser was saying how hot she found him. Like, was that now or was that then?
I'm with Nikki. I would have found him now.
She's saying
I would have taken him now earlier.
She was like, God, he's sexy.
There's something about him. And it could be the funny. It could be.
But he's just talented as well.
It's extremely talented.
He's a good actor.
Linda Ronstadt and Albert Brooks. So they dated for a little bit.
They dated for 2 years.
2 years.
Was he just like a big sex symbol in his heyday?
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I say he is, but he probably wouldn't be on the cover of GQ. But I would put him on that list.
But you compare him to like Woody Allen, it's like very different.
Well, here's the thing: like they're unicorns, like Woody Allen as well. Woody Allen's just harder to look at, but his humor,
good with kids. I've heard.
Okay. Allegedly.
Pretty out there.
Pretty sketchy.
Your kids are in the same.
But she was cute, Linda Ronstadt. Like, whatever. So, but yeah, who knows what he had commitment issues.
Sounds like he was a serial bachelor, and then he met this woman, Kimberly, and they were like soulmates, and they got married.
I like that she said that she watched Postcards from the Edge. She said, he wrote and directed and starred in this. That's the kind of man I want to be with. And I'm like, yeah, who doesn't, bitch?
Get in line.
Hello, ho. No, but she seems sweet.
Who did their daughter look like to you in her interviews?
That was tough.
She was like the dragon queen from
because
Game of Thrones.
That was like hot. I wonder when they filmed this, if it was last year or 2 years or
like
whatever.
White hair.
Yeah, that was a big deal. The girls were like, young people were dyeing their hair whitish gray.
Look at Daenerys Einstein.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I wonder
she doesn't look it.
She went back to regular. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. It was kind of a thing to do for a while.
When they stood up, they showed him and Rob Reiner going to see his father's, what was it, ashes or where?
Mausoleum?
Yeah, so I was like, how fucking tall is Rob Reiner, or is he really short? I looked it up. He's 6'2". I was shocked.
Where was it that he said, my mother wanted to be cremated? He's like, I can tell by your cooking. What the fuck? So mean.
Putting bits in there.
It's so good.
About having kids, he said, I was sick of me. Which is a very Larry David style neurotic quote.
But he's like, I can't, and it's good. Thank God he did it, because he couldn't imagine his life without. He's had everything. He's had the perfect.
He's had a little bit of all.
Even though it looks like he's had the hardest road. No, I'm just kidding. He just has that thing. Like,
I like. He was in the movie Drive, and the director or somebody.
Did you see that movie?
No. Said, how can I believe you as a bad guy? So he grabbed the guy by the lapel, slammed him into the door.
It's the only way to get things done is audition on the spot.
And he goes, look, I'm not going to be able to convince you, but say I put a gun, stuck it right in your ear, and blew your brains out and walked away with a smile. The guy's like, you're hired. But that also could be like, I was just assaulted. I could go very...
But he is a good... Look, but he is a good actor.
I could go the other way if they don't like you.
I mean, how about Broadcast News? You never saw that?
No.
Really?
No.
Now that one.
Should I just binge it?
Out a long
you know what
time.
I've seen is when they were showing The Simpsons voiceover. I saw all those.
Terrific. Terrific.
I knew all that.
Yeah, I've seen that too, though. But Broadcast News is, I don't know. It's.
This guy wrote a novel too. This guy's all over the place.
So good, Broadcast News.
This guy's a real artist.
And Holly Hunter is excellent in it. And what's his name? The hunk. William Hurt, is that right?
Hurt.
I believe it's Hurt, right?
Kurt Hurt's his brother.
Him. He's so good in it. He's the perfect epitome American looking.
Is this the
Aryan?
This
whatever
isn't the
the
Aaron
word is.
Sorkin one, is it?
This might be Sorkin.
There's a news movie that's Sorkin. Am I thinking of the wrong movie?
Oh no. Sorkin did a TV show too, but I don't know if he did this. Who did this?
James L. Brooks.
James L. Brooks. That's right, because he was in it too.
His brother.
Simpsons.
What?
James L. Brooks is Simpsons, right? Isn't that his
Yes,
yeah.
That's and he James L. Brooks was in this, and
I said yeah, he was in it.
He said when Albert would come in to do VL, like the writers would just flock to the booth to like see it.
We gotta hear this.
He's like, oh shit, he's back. Let's go.
How cool is it how they got him to do Nemo? Which, by the way, my nephew says I'm Dory. I'm not really into that.
Why? Oh, because he
says I'm forgetful.
Oh, jeez, may want to get that checked.
You don't remember anything. You're like Dory. You can't find anything. You're always
Pixar
lost.
wooed him. He didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but how cool was it what they used, like from his movie?
They put Nemo on the screen and they used his movie lines to show
from
him.
Defending Your Life,
yeah,
which
like,
you didn't see.
Here it is, which he didn't sound like anymore. He sounded different.
And you never saw Modern Romance, nothing.
I saw True Romance.
Same. How could I get both?
I like his agent said to him, I don't know why you always have to do this. You always take the hard road.
But that delivery of what his answer was.
You think I see two roads?
He's like, oh, you think I see two roads.
He's like, you don't think I would be on the easy road? If
I have a house on Easy Road.
He's like, this is just all I know.
Brilliant right here. Brilliant. This movie. And like sad, like beautiful. Because he's a mess.
It seems like a lot of his movies had a lot of heart. From what I saw here. I mean, I can't say because I haven't seen them.
It's all him, but it's crazy that, like, here's a guy I look at, I'm like, oh my God, he's brilliant. What a great career. And who knew he had to fight tooth and nail for every single fucking step.
Well, he was fighting for things to get made. It wasn't like he was fighting for a career, but it was like things to get made.
Yeah, things to get made, things to get made the way he wanted them to get made.
Well, then they're like, we're not going to promote it the way you want. He's like, all right, I'm walking out.
The what was the last one? The Muslim one? Looking for, what was the title?
It was like Looking for Laughs in a Muslim World or something?
Looking for Laughs in a Muslim World. I will admit, I only saw bits and pieces of that.
It didn't seem great, but from what I saw here, but who knows?
No, it doesn't. I'm just saying because it came out later. What year? When did this come out?
2005.
2005.
Looking for comedy in the Muslim world.
And I remember it coming out, and I remember being excited. There's a new Albert Brooks, blah blah blah. Get into it, whatever. And then it just got busier. Life more happened.
The
I guess.
studio said
I don't know.
You can't use the word Muslim in the title.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And I loved how he was like, put a joke in there about that was so great. Are you Jewish? And like real serious. And he's like,
He's like, not right now.
Part-time? And it got a big laugh. So that's great.
Well, he said like the Shah of like whatever country.
Always on the phones, which is hilarious and terrifying at the same time.
He was telling the story at the premiere.
So real.
I didn't love like all the stuff about his movie just because I didn't know what they were talking. Like they were like analyzing some of the movies. I was like, part was like, what? Huh? Like Lost in America, never heard of it.
I've Lost in America. I saw it.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie of it? Defending Your Life?
I love. Well, see, that's hard because I love Defending Your Life, and I love Mother. Those are my two tops, I think, for me. Defending Your Life. And again, you didn't see it, but literally they would put you in. It's so him because they would put you in. I mean, he was so good in broadcast news, but that wasn't his thing.
He's good in Nemo. He's like perfect as a neurotic father of a fish.
But Defending Your Life, you know what?
That's got to be his quintessential album.
Yeah. You know, because, anyway, Defending Your Life, when him coming, when you go and you have to literally defend your life and they're playing movies of shit you've done in your life and you're trying to sit there and be like, no, but what I was doing there was, and then they just show horrible shit. And then they go to this place, what the fuck was it called, where they show you what you were in past lives based on what you are in this life or were in that life you just lived. And he's like getting eaten by, he's the gazelle. Like he's running. And she's like, oh, I'm a princess. Meryl Streep's like, oh, I'm on a horse. I'm this. I'm Lady Guitar. I'm doing this and that. And it's just all beautiful stuff. And he's just getting eaten by He's the worst. It's so good. It just made me laugh so hard. But I also just realized getting mad about them me not being able to see them at the Comedy Store. This came out in 91. I wasn't there yet, 93. And they filmed a lot of stuff at the store. But I probably didn't see Defending Your Life until later. And so I was like, fuck, they filmed that at the store. Was that one of the secretive ones?
You could have been there.
Yeah, because there were a few secretive ones that we weren't allowed to be part of, that they just filmed and then it comes out later and you just don't know about it. But Muse, which is also excellent. I don't know if you saw that one.
Nope.
Damn it.
I told you I didn't see that.
Oh, right. But that's me and Freddie Soto and Corey Soto walked to the Beverly Center to go see it. We were so excited. Like, whoa. We were like, we're going.
Wouldn't you drive if you were excited to get there faster?
No, we were like,
okay.
Just so excited. We made it a whole day. We didn't want to, because Freddie was like me, a little bit obsessed with Albert Brooks. Corey didn't give a shit one way or the other. But they have this muse, which is Sharon Stone, and she's helping him with his writer's block.
But then all these guys, Marty Scorsese shows up.
Well, they come and they buy her
James
gifts.
Cameron shows up.
Yeah. So they give her gifts. See all the gifts. So he had a little box, and he's like, I can't. Your gift is being made, like, because he was so nervous because he saw what everybody else was giving, and he was like embarrassed by it, and then he had to go and spend all this money, and his wife lost her shit. Like,
I like that Sharon Stone
so
made
good.
A choice as an actor. She had to share a bed with Andie MacDowell. And she's like, I want to get naked to make it funnier. And she said it to Albert.
Screaming.
She said he covered his eyes. And he goes, I don't know. As a director.
It was
he goes, I don't know if I could see that.
To get me to watch this movie and laugh with Andie MacDowell in it is a big deal, because she's not my favorite. And she's also in one of my other favorite movies that annoy but she always.
I don't think I've ever met somebody who dislikes Andie MacDowell.
She annoys me. She's a nuisance.
She's like Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
No, inappropriate.
Same hair.
Absolutely not. Same hair? Are you going to say she has the same comedic style? Like, get the fuck out of here.
She was good in the show Made. You ever see the show
Yeah.
Made? She was good in that.
Meds. She ruins things for me.
Jeez.
There's people
Personal
that
rivalry.
There's a lot of stuff about
she
her
fucks
that bugs
Stallone?
me. I'll fucking kill her.
The last word on this is Letterman. He said, I'd rather have Albert Brooks' career than my own.
How crazy
I was like, look at that. Jeez.
How crazy is that?
High praise. But I think Letterman wanted to do more than what he did.
Of course. He could have done more than what he did, to be honest.
But I think that's kind of him lamenting that.
So mean. I'm kidding. But Sharon Stone gets Andie MacDowell like to open a cookie business, and then it becomes like really, really successful, like insanely successful. And he comes home looking for dinner, and there's cookies everywhere. And he's like, what's for dinner? And she's like, have a cookie. He goes, what am I, 5? Like, he's just so pissy. There she is in the bed naked. Sharon Stone
loves
you have to see it.
Naked.
That's a good one.
What year was that?
I don't remember. It'd have to be in the late 90s.
99.
99, late 90s. Yeah. I almost said 2000s, but I just remember walking from Fountain and Sweetser to the Beverly Center and back.
It's a long walk.
And discussing it the whole time and loving it.
Look at Scorsese's eyebrows. Are beautiful.
Great year for movies.
What?
Great year for movies. You could watch The Matrix, Fight Club, Iron Giant, or The Muse.
And I watched
Albert Brooks.
all of them except The Matrix.
I've seen very few of them.
The Matrix?
I saw a Fight Club in a theater.
Fight Club I love.
It disturbed me. I felt like I was on drugs. I felt like I was going to have a breakdown.
That's the best part of it. It's like watching The Wall, Pink Floyd.
But I was like, maybe this has been my life and I have an alter ego that I don't know about all along. And I got really in my head about it. I was like, I got to stop thinking about this because it's freaking me out.
Yeah. But James Cameron in The Muse being like, stay away from the water. Stay away from the water. He's just done Titanic. So good. And then Scorsese with the thin Raging Bull. Thin.
He was real Coke energy. He was really all over the place.
Is there a Starbucks near here?
And he's like, I think you've had your fill. He's like, you think? Yeah. Would you recommend this to women who are horny for Albert Brooks?
Absolutely.
What about
Absolutely.
What about people who aren't horny for Albert Brooks?
And smart, funny Jews, this is you. All you, all day. No. I thought it was good. Did you not like the?
I did. I liked it. I did
Okay.
like it. Because I knew nothing about him, and I was like, oh, this guy, like his the comedy was funny.
You've seen none of his movies.
I'm more of a Super Dave guy.
I love Super Dave too.
It's a shame he died recently.
I know it. I think I liked Albert Brooks first, and then ran into Super Dave, if you will.
He's great.
So good.
I'm sorry, Albert.
And I think I even, there was a lot of stuff about him. So good. But
look at that hairpiece till the very end. I respect someone who goes hairpiece to the very end.
By the way, agreed. And I have a friend, an older comic, and he was at the Comedy Store the other night. I'm not going to say his name to embarrass him, but he does wear a toque as well. And when Annie Letterman walked in, she goes, come on, show me your crooked toupee, because he had his hat on. She goes, go get it out of the car. I know it's in the car. Get that toupee out of the car. I want to see it on crooked like you always keep it. And I was like, oh my God.
Aggressive toupee talk.
Of course, he was laughing. He don't care, but he wears it. He likes it.
Is it known?
Yeah, he feels more comfortable with it.
Jason Alexander, who we were talking about pre-show because you were late, he's now rocking the toupee openly. Like everyone knows he's bald, but he now is wearing the toupee.
One of my favorite scenes on Seinfeld is when Julia Louis-Dreyfus, hilarious Julia.
Agreed.
Louis-Dreyfus, if you will.
Agreed.
Pulls it off his head and I hate this. And she throws the toupee out the window. Hilarious. How dare you, Andy McDowell, Julia Louis. It's not even in the same league.
So that's Albert Brooks, everybody. Check it out.
Albert Brooks.
On HBO Maximum.
It took the Gandhi away.
That was a stupid joke.
So good. All right.
See you later, everybody.
Thank you.
We love you.
Love you.